So we are in the introductions of the Siddur Zichron Dovid, and we got to the concept of Partzufim. Okay, so before we starting to read here, I want to make a little introduction. You know that this Siddur is basically the Kabbalah of the Arizal. It's based on the Kabbalah of the Arizal. Before the Arizal, there was Kabbalah, right? Everybody knows that the Kabbalah was from the time of the Adam HaRishon. So many people are asking, like, what was the special new thing that the Arizal brought to the world? And some of the people answer that he spoke about this concept that we're going to read about today, the Partzufim. Now, it doesn't mean that it was not mentioned before him. Also, the Zohar speaks about those concepts of Partzufim, Zeir and Pin, Nukba, Abba, Ima, all of those concepts that we're going to discuss. It's brought down in the Zohar. So what's the difference? That the Arizal explains the system of the Partzufim as a system. It's not just basically the question is, what's the difference between the Sfirot and the Partzufim? Okay, that's also what we're going to see here. So to make it simple, it's not so simple, but to make it simple, so I explained that the Sfira is something that is partial, is a part, and Partzuf is a whole system that contains many parts within it. Okay? You can say that also about Sfira, that you can look in the Sfira, whatever, let's say Chesed, and then there will be the 10 Sfirot of the Chesed, right? So it will be the same thing then. But the Partzufim, they have interaction one with another, more than the Sfirot. Okay? It's a little bit hard to define what is the unique quality there, but it's something to do with the connection of one with another. Okay. There is people that are explaining that the Kabbalah of before the Arizal, they call it the Kabbalah of the Ramak, even though it was not the only Mekubal before the Arizal, Rabbi Moshe Cordovero, but for many people, all the Kabbalah of before the Arizal is considered to be part of the system of the Ramak, Rabbi Moshe Cordovero. And then after the Ramak is the time of the Arizal, so that's like a new age of revelation that was never, like new revelations that was never in the world. And basically that's the Partzufim. Okay, to explain, to define the relationship between the different Partzufim and how they work one with another, that's the majority of the Torah of the Arizal. Another point to get more understanding here, that they call the Kabbalah of the Ramak, they call that the Olam HaTohu. Okay, the world of chaos, Baruch haba. And the Kabbalah of the Arizal is the world of the Tikkun. Okay? Now, the world of chaos, if we're looking on that concept of the Olam HaTohu as the Sfirot, meaning before the whole concept of the shattering of the vessels, and so on, and the Partzufim is the world of the Tikkun, which is basically what we are discussing. So both of them spoke about before and after, before the shattering of the vessels and after the Tikkun. But the question is, what is the focus? What is the main point of the way that they are approaching and speaking about the concept that they want to bring? So the Arizal, the majority of the writings of the Arizal is speaking about the Partzufim. Okay, so that's why this introduction that we are dealing with today is very, very important. Okay, so now we have Binyamin here, so we can start.
Over here?
Yes.
The Partzufim are intrinsically Sefirot. They're just set up as a system that gives each Partzuf the status of a whole being, whereas Sefirot, they are just a part of something bigger. For example, Yaakov Avinu can be considered a whole on his own, or only part of the three Avot.
Okay, stop. So that's the first definition. Okay, part, a whole. Right? Partzuf is a whole and Sphira is a part. But also here, every Partzuf, for example, let's say we're going to read about, for example, Zeir and Pin of the Atzilut. That's one of the most common points that we're going to use also through the Siddur. Zeir and Pin of the Atzilut. So it's one part, one Partzuf out of a whole, out of the part of the world of Atzilut, right? So again, to make it simple, we have like 3 levels of Prat and Klal, the general rule and the details of it. So we have the general rule of a world, which is like, let's say, a building, and then the people inside of the building, the identities, is the Partzufim, and the parts of each Partzuf is like the parts of the body of each one of those individuals. Okay, so we have like 3 levels.
So too, the Sephirah of Chokhmah is one of the 10 Sephirot, but can also be a full entity in itself when referred to a Partzuf Abba. Included in Partzuf Abba are all 10 Sephirot of Abba.
Right. Again, we can say that also about Chokhmah without mentioning the word Abba. Okay, what are we getting from the word Abba? That we refer to that as a whole identity. There's a whole structure here, and it has a meaning in refer to others. Okay, it has a function. If I speak about the like 10 Sfirot, and I'm not defining what is the general rule that comes out of these 10 Sfirot specifically, so what can you do with it? It's useless. You have like, let's say you have parts of a car, but you don't put it together to be a car, so you can't drive it, right? If you have just the parts and you're not putting it together to be one thing, so it's not functional, right? So to take the Sfirot and to organize them as Partzufim, it becomes to be functional, and that's why it's so important for the Kavanot, for the meditations.
By Sephirot of Abba, you mean like every Sephirah by itself come together to become Partzuf Abba.
Right.
That's what we're trying to say here. Okay, and Abba means like the father, like a entity by itself. That's what we mean.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. So, the 10 Sephirot extend, combine, and relate to one another to become a Partzuf when their light mesh together. The Sephirah of Keter becomes Partzuf Arich. The Sephirah of Chokhmah becomes Partzuf Abba. The Sephirah of Binah becomes Partzuf Ima. The Sephirah of Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferet, Netzach, Od, and Yesod become the Partzuf of Zeir Anpin. The Sephirah of Malchut becomes the Partzuf of Nukva.
Okay, stop. Okay, so this is the simple structure, the basic structure of the Partzufim. Okay, again, we have 5 Partzufim. Yeah, Arich Anpin, Abba, Ima, Zeir Anpin, Nukba. Right? And between those 5 Partzufim, we are reframing the 10 Sfirot. Yeah? We have 10 Sfirot of the world of Atzilut, and we are giving them now a new definition according to their function. Right? So the Keter, like we said here, Arich and Pin. So what does it mean? What's the difference? So Arich and Pin there's a whole meaning that comes with it. When I call it Arich and Pin, it means it has a certain function. Okay? And all of the articles of the Zohar that are mentioning Arich and Pin, I can put in that box. Right? And it has many applications. I'm not getting into the details of it, but what's important for me now for this introduction is that you'll see that it's a shift. Okay, and that's a big step for anyone that wants to get like involved with the meditations of the Arizal. That's a big step. Okay, the difference between the Sfirot and the Partzufim, to get that is not something that it's just like one moment and you're there, you understand the difference. It's a process and it's something to work on. Okay, and as much when you have those boxes, so you know those names that I just mentioned and the relationship between them, so then afterwards when you get to learn more the writings of the Arizal, so then you can fill up those boxes with all of those meanings, all of the wisdom of the Arizal. Yeah?
So the boxes are a system, and then all the boxes are a system also.
Yes. One thing is to get like the order of the boxes, yeah, the name of those Partzufim, and what is the function of them, and then through the learning that is obviously like a lifetime learning, so we are filling those boxes with content of all of those articles that are related with each one of those concepts. That's not only about the Partzufim, also about the Sfirot we can say the same thing, but now the subject matter is about the Partzufim. So we want to get those boxes clear, to know the organization of them, and then Bezrat Hashem
we get there by studying Arizal.
We'll put more and more content in them. I have some here in this introduction, even though it's short, but that's basically the goal of this introduction, to get a little bit that everybody will get familiar with those concepts. Let's go on.
Zeir Anpin and Nukva together are called Zun. Our main focus in all of our kavanot is in Avodat Hashem is to cause them to join together. There are more structures than those 5 parts of Partzufim, but for now it is enough.
Okay, so basically, to make it simple, our goal is to get to the tikkun of Zun, Zeir Anpin and Nukba. Okay, as if Zun are like a young couple that we need to get them married, to give them their needs, to settle down and to multiply. What does it mean to multiply? To bring abundance, to bring new abundance to the world.
Couldn't it be more like that? We bring it from a high place, and when we reach that point, that's like the bottom, and that's bringing it down.
Yes, that's the next piece that we're going to read.
So
what you said now is the abundance. Yes.
I have just one question. I know what Keter means in English. I know the other word. I know what is Abba in English. I know what is Imma in English. But Arich.
Arich and Pin. It's a I say Arich. It's a short name. The full name is Arich and Pin, and it means long face, literally. The literal translation is long face. There is Arich and Pin, and there is Air and Pin. So that's the long face, and that's the short face. But the point of the matter is not so much the literal translation of it, is what does it mean.
Just to know the word.
The Sephirah Malchut, we say that it's the pursuit of Nukva. So we're saying that if you grab Malchut Abba, the Sephirah, right? That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
That in itself would be considered the Partzuf of Nukva.
The Malchut of Abba, can you consider that to be a Partzuf? Yes. That will you can say, instead of saying Malchut of Abba, you can say Nukba of Abba.
So it's okay.
You can say that. It's interchangeable. Okay. You can switch between them. The question is, do you have a reason to do it?
Okay.
If there's a reason to do it, so then
the question what?
When you're speaking about the 10 sfirot of a certain Partzuf, and you pick one of those sfirot, can you change the particular sfira according to that system that I just presented here? So, for example, he said the Malchut of Abba. Can I call it Nukba of Abba? The answer is yes. But why do you do that? What do you gain? What do you want to say by that?
It's not exactly the same thing.
It's not exactly the same thing, but you can say that. You can switch between them.
It can mean the same thing. It's just not okay. I think.
Let's give it an example. Okay, let's give it an example. For example, if there is someone that I know that is a businessman and is looking for a shidduch for a long time, and he have a big problem that the girls that he is going out with, he feels, and he have a reason to feel that they are after his money. So So all the time he's complaining that they look at him as a wallet, as a credit card, or something like that. You have an expression like that I hear from him,
Yes.
quite a lot. Okay, so we can say, can we say about a person that is a wallet? In a certain way, you can say that one of the functions of a person is to be a wallet. It's true sometimes, yeah. But what do you mean when you say that? So you have a certain purpose to say that. Otherwise, you wouldn't use a term like that, right?
Maybe you'll turn the light on now.
I guess the problem is defining what nukva really means. In the case of your example, what a wallet means, we have a certain idea of what a wallet is. And so let's say Malchut is a person and nukva is a wallet. So you have to understand what this function as a wallet means.
Okay.
But I guess we're not understanding that.
So
I'm
that's
not understanding.
That's putting everything in the boxes.
Right. So that's. But first of all, we want to make some kind of organization of like what is the names of the boxes and what's the order of them.
This box is nukva, and inside of it there's Malchut.
For now, yes.
Okay. I can understand that.
Okay.
Okay.
Zeir
Anpin and his mochim. The Zohar writes, and this is also obvious scientifically, that a person, as well as Zeir Anpin, has three parts to his mochim, brain, the right, the left, and the middle. The right part is called Chokhmah, the left, Binah, and the middle, Das. Zeir Anpin is built of 6 Sefirot called Chesed, Gevura, Tiferet, Netzach, Od, and Yesod. These are considered to comprise the body of Zeir Anpin. Chesed is his right hand, Gevura his left, Tiferet his torso, Netzach his right leg, Od his left leg, and Yesod his brit.
So here we have already an extra understanding that when we speak about the Sefirot of the Partzuf, so that's the reason that I said before, it's like the parts of the body. Okay, so like we have a world, right? A building. We have people inside of the building, and each one of those people have parts of the body, right? So we have the worlds, Atzilut Bria Atzira Asiya. We have within each world we have the Partzufim, Arich, Abba, Ima, Za, and Nukba. And inside of each one of the Partzufim, we have 10 Sefirot, right? So those 10 Sefirot, we read about it a little bit before in the introduction, that one of the ways to split between them is the top 3, Chokhmah, Binah, and Da'at, and the lower 6, or the lower 7, if we're counting also Malchut, right? So also here, we see that the lower 6 or 7 is Zeir Anpin and Malchut, right? And the top, that is Arich, Abba, and Ima, here we consider that to be Chokhmah, Binah, and Dat of Zeir Anpin. Okay? So I'm looking like in a microscope inside of Zeir Anpin, and looking on this Sefirot, and these are called the Mochin of Zeir Anpin. Chokhmah, Binah, and Dat is the Mochin of Zeir Anpin, and in a certain way, this is part of our goal, to bring this abundance, to bring those Mochin.
But could you say then Mochin in any of them would be the same thing, right? Would Mochin be the same thing in any of the used in any other thing also? Is that a generic term, Mochin, like which is just like the microscope of
the Mochin is basically the Chokhmah, Binah, and Dat.
But I'm saying, can you use that other
Partzufim?
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're saying that what I'm understanding is that Chesed, Gevura, Tiferet, Netzach, Od, Yesod, they have a Mochin, but
they have a function that is called Zeir Anpin.
Right. And they have
Zeir Anpin
has a Mochin,
is missing those Mochin,
which is Chesed, Gevura,
which is Chokhmah, Binah, and Dat.
Right.
Yeah. So, for example, if we look on ourselves as Zeir Anpin, and we are trying to understand what it says here, so we are missing those mochin. We are missing this wisdom, understanding, right? That's what it's about. So all the time when we are praying on the needs that we have, when we are looking up, so the spiritual realms have the same needs, but in a spiritual way. Okay? So that's the way that Hashem created the world. Hashem created the world that each dimension is a reflection of the dimensions above and below. Right? So from our needs we can look up and understand the needs of the higher dimensions. Yeah?
That's nice. Oh, I think that comes I think that sort of comes next. Okay. All these limbs of his body include the kelim, vessels, and the respective orot, lights. However, in his head, he has the kelim of chokhmah, bina, and dat, abbreviated as gar, which it stands for Gimel 3. Rishonot, in example, the first 3 sefirot. But not the proper orot yet, only the mochin of katnut. This is parallel to a child who, although he has all the limbs of a mature body, including his head, it is still not ready to get married because he has only mochin of katnut, loosely translated as a mature mental capabilities.
Okay, so I try to make it simple, but it's very deep concept. So with all of the efforts, it's still not as simple as I want it to be. But I'm trying to make it even simpler. So again, the point, what I'm trying to explain here is what's the difference between a child and an adult. Okay, if you look on the body, so the child have a full body. You have the head, you have the right brain, you have the left brain, you have the middle brain. So what is he missing? Right? Sure. So the answer is that his brain is the vessel that will receive the maturity, right? When you take a child and you educate him, so you are helping him to get to his maturity. So we have the vessels there, and we need to bring the abundance that will fill up those vessels in the right content that will help this child to be in the point that he is able to get married. Okay?
In this case, time.
It takes time. Fine. Said
time is the.
Okay. So what does it mean? Time in spiritual. What does it mean? Time in spiritual dimension. That's another discussion. We discussed it a little bit in the past, but Rabbi Hashem will discuss it in the future. But right now, for just to get this point, so there is Partzuf Zeir Pin, that is the parable as a parable like a child, and you have the vessels, and he needs the abundance that will fill up those vessels in a way that he will, as if in the parable, grow and mature to be able to get married, meaning to get to the point that unity will be possible. Okay? What is marriage? Marriage is taking two things and to make one of them. Right? So that's unity. And that's basically what Kabbalah is about. To get to a higher level of unity. So how do we get to a higher level of unity? We need to bring down abundance. Right? This abundance is the mochin. Okay, so we have everything ready. We have the vessels ready. But we need to fill them up with abundance. And that's part of our goal in the prayer, in all what we are doing serving Hashem. Okay?
When he acquires mochin of gadlut, mature mental capabilities, he will be ready for marriage. The Zichron Pin grows in a similar way. Through our prayers, these kelim receive their final stage of mochin of gadlut. At the beginning of Shmoneh Esrei, Zichron Pin has only mochin of katnut. During the Shmoneh Esrei, we draw into Zichron Pin mochin of gadlut to prepare Zichron Pin for binding with the nukva that manifests during the last blessing of Shmoneh Esrei. Sim Shalom.
Okay, so again, this is basically what's happening in the prayer. Okay, in the Amidah. We are walking our way to fill up those vessels with mochin, abundance, and bring Zeir Anpin and Nukva to the point that they will be able to unite together, and that will be in the end of the prayer. Okay? So that's basically what we're doing in every prayer. Okay? So then you can ask, so why do we need to do it again and again and again? We already did it one time, so that's enough. Yeah. They are married, you don't have to. So the answer is that we have a new couple every prayer. Okay, that's according to the Rashash. According to the Rashash, Rabbi Shalom Sharabi Mizrahi, that is the continuation of the Arizal. That the Sidur is also based on his Kabbalah. So every prayer we have a new set of Partzufim that we're working on. Okay, it's not the same. What's the reason? Because that's going back to the point of time. What does time have to do with spiritual dimensions? The answer is that through time we are getting the gradual tikkun. Okay, every moment there's a new potential of tikkun.
So naturally, there's tikkun in time. There's naturally a tikkun, like it just comes to
it's
be.
Naturally, yes, but Hashem gave us the privilege to be part of the process. So as much as we're taking the responsibility to be more of partners in this process of tikkun, so we have more merits.
The more we
have more shares in the final tikkun.
But isn't it more about like making the vessel to catch it?
Right, but
that's part of it. Part of the process is to make ourselves to be a vessel to catch the abundance. Yes, okay. but that's a basic step.
Right.
It's advanced for Halavai that the majority of the world will be in that place. But after we're making ourselves to be a vessel to catch the abundance, so then the question will be: so what do you do with this abundance, right?
Sure.
So we use this abundance to get to the final tikkun of the whole creation, right? And that's something that is a contextual process that happens theoretically every moment, but no one is capable to do all of those kavanot every moment. But at least we're trying through our prayers. Every time we are standing to pray, so as much as we are able to meditate on those concepts, so we are part of this process of tikkun, of that moment, of that time of the prayer.
The time gives us a chance to fulfill the tikkun to a greater degree. So there's naturally a tikkun happening through time because there's always suffering, there's always this. But the more advantage you take of this time to fulfill the tikkun to your greatest capability is better.
If you use it right, yes.
Right.
If you use the time right, so then the time becomes.
If you use it wrong, you make more things that have to have tikkun.
So it's kind of like that. It's like a movie that's going, and we want to like sync ourselves up, and at that time to be like to do what we need to do at that time, and that's what does the tikkun. In other words, like everything just moving, but we want to like at that time, like at that moment, we want to do what we need to do at that time.
You want to pay attention.
You can say it this way.
Yeah,
you can use this parable.
I guess
yes, but you can say more than that whatever. For example,
I just want to share something. I was going to come here and not say anything.
Baruch Hashem. So it means you're getting enthusiasm. So you can't hold yourself back.
I don't know.
It's good. I want. The answer is yes, but there's more than that. So, for example, tonight, Baruch Hashem, I prayed Arvit. Until the next time I will pray, there's a good few hours, right?
Sure.
So what's happening? Like in those hours, there is tikkunim all the time. So what will be with all of those tikkunim, right?
But is it tikkunim or is it just that time is moving? So it's like it's changing. So like it's going to be different the next time you go to pray, and you're not praying every second. So it's like you realign yourself up each time.
Okay, so that's true.
Okay.
Yes, I
But
agree.
That's
I agree.
That's not what you're saying, though.
What I want to say is that when we get to pray, we are centralizing. Is that the right? We are bringing into that prayer also the different times that are around the prayer. Okay, so for example, whenever we get to pray Shacharit, we are bringing into the prayer the tikkun of all of those moments from dawn until basically the next prayer.
Why not from Rabbi to Shachris?
So Arvit basically covers us
All night.
like through midnight, and then what I'm saying now is based on the Rashash. So the Arvit is basically take us until midnight, and we have from midnight to dawn. We have like supposedly Tikkun Chatzot,
Right.
those that have the merit to do it, and then from dawn we have the Shacharit, and until midday, and then there's Mincha.
So a lot of people.
Musaf is like somewhere like another world. We'll speak about it
So
another
basically
time.
the people that do nets have like 72 minutes. They're doing tikkun for like 72 minutes of.
Okay, so I don't know if that's what you meant to say, but according to this understanding, there's a reason to pray later. Right, and that's a certain reason of like big Hasidic Rebbes that they were like pushing their prayer later. And they there was like few of them that they said literally when in my prayer I'm doing tikkun for all of the prayers that were before me. So all of the people that were praying Shacharit before me, I'm taking their prayers and I'm elevating them to another level.
So if I ever pray at
that's that's the power of the tzaddikim.
So if I ever pray like half an hour before
midday,
from midday, I think about this and then I got some extra strength.
בסדר, בדיעבד. Don't plan מלכתחילה. Yeah, but we're not in that level of those tzaddikim to do this,
But even him having just even that thought, maybe he'll take something with
Yeah,
it.
I'm saying like if that's what happens, so that's what happens.
Sure.
But לכתחילה we're trying to do זריזים מקדימים. Whenever it happens to be, The point is not so much about the time. There is people that they are like very, very nervous about the time and like exactly the minute, and one is exactly the sunrise, and all the time looking on the board of like what is the time of Kriyat Shema, what is the... Okay, I'm not saying that those things are not important. There is meaning for them. There is a reason that it's brought down, but the main thing is to pray to Hashem, to connect to Hashem, right? So. Yeah, the question is what are you gaining, what are you losing? Let's make it a little break with this heavy stuff, and I'll tell you a nice story about it. That there's a rabbi that comes to me sometimes, Shalosh Edison from Mea Shearim, that he told me that one time he was not he, but there was a situation in a mikveh that there was someone that he didn't feel good, and it was like just like 45 minutes before sunrise. So most of the people that were there in the mikveh, they wanted to to pray nets, but this person, he didn't feel good. So there was one guy that they knew that he's not going to pray nets anyhow. So they told him, okay, so you take care of him. We're going to pray. And this person, he didn't know what to do. He was not like really functioning. He should have called ambulance, but he was hesitating what to do and this and that. And this person, he got to a danger. He got to a life threat because there was those people left him, and they so there is people that they have they are so focused on a certain goal, so they forget they don't they lose their the value of
priorities.
So
it's like a guy that's going to learn, and there's some old lady carrying all her bags, and she's like, "Can you help me?" It's like, I have to meet my chavruta. He's missing the point of everything.
Right. So I'm saying that the time is important. There is to organize ourselves around the schedule and to to fit ourselves to a schedule, it's a big tikkun. Okay, but when there is exceptions and you have to do something, so you have to do whatever it is that you have to do. And if what you have to do is to let yourself a little bit more time to meditate, a little bit more time to preparation, whatever it is, going to mikveh, whatever it is. Okay, so that's what you need to do in that day. So the fact that generally you are like trying to fit in to like schedule and to try to wake up early and to do things early and everything, okay, fine. When things got different and someone wakes up a little bit late and takes a little bit more time to organize himself, okay, whatever. The main thing that when finally he gets to pray, so to do it right. That's the bottom line.
One thing, it's like a lot of people not speak badly, but it's also like it's all about them so much. Like
exactly, love your neighbor more than you love yourself.
It's like the reform movement or whatever. Like they're all about like Guyver and it's me and like, but where's Hashem? Like where's Hashem in the whole thing?
Right. It becomes more about them than the
this. It's like it's about me. Like I have to be here. I have to do it. It's where's Hashem? Like bring Hashem more into it.
Yeah.
It's more about Hashem.
I agree. Okay, so let's read a little bit more.
When we say mochin, we mean mochin of keter, mochin of chokhmah, and mochin of bina. Each one of these three are subdivided into three groups called Chabad, Chagat, and Nechi, which stand for Chokhmah, Bina, Da'at, Chesed, Gevura, Tiferet, Netzach, Od, Yesod. Hence, there is Chabad of Bina, Chagat of Bina, and Nehi of Bina. The same applies to Keter and Chokhmah as well.
Okay, so in other words, what I want to say here is that we are working on bringing those mochin to Zeir and Pin, right? And generally those mochin is Chokhmah, Bina, and Da'at. Fine. Sometimes we count Keter, Chokhmah, Bina, sometimes we count Chokhmah, Bina, and Da'at, but the point is that each one of them breaks to levels. So we have the minimum level is 9. The middle average is Chagat. And the highest is Chabad. Okay, again, within the Chabad, we have the Chabad Chagat Nai of each one of the Chabad. Right? If it's hard to understand what is the Chabad Chagat Nai, so you have this picture in the back of the Siddur. So Chabad Chagat Nai, right? Chokhmah, Bin, and Da'at is Chabad. Chesed, Gvura, Tiferet is Chagat. Netzach, Hod, and Yesod is Nai.
But every Sefirah Ba has a Malchut too. No? Every Sefirah has the others.
Yeah.
So
Each one of the Sefirot you can break to all of the parts.
Right.
But the point of the matter is that when we are working on bringing those mochin, so we have to work gradually. Okay? We're starting from the bottom and we're working our way up. Okay? So we're starting with the Nai of Bina, right? Because from the mochin. So we have the, okay, I really didn't get to explain it yet, but I'll say it anyhow. So we have Keter, Chokhmah, Bina, right? That's in the big picture, and each one of them have the Chabad Chagat Nai. Okay?
But Yesod doesn't have this.
All of those mochin are coming to Zeir and Pin, which is Chesed, Gvura, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yesod.
Okay.
Yeah? Anyhow, we are working our way up. Okay, so we're starting from Nai of Bina, and that's basically all of the prayers of the weekday, and then we're working our way up, like within the other prayers. For example, this morning we have Musaf for Rosh Chodesh, so that's another elevation. It's not a regular set of mochin of the regular weekday. That's the meaning of Rosh Chodesh, right? Every time that we have like a special occasion, Chanukah, Purim, Rosh Chodesh, Shabbat, Chagim, each one have a different set of mochin, a new abundance. Okay, so when we're doing those extra prayers of those special occasions, so we're gaining extra abundance that is extra on top of the weekday. So the basic, that's the minimal standard, is the Nai of Bina. Okay, that's the beginning of everything. That's the foundation.
Aren't we starting at a higher level? Aren't we higher though on these days, on all these holidays? Aren't we like at a higher
No,
state?
and the holidays, yes. I'm saying like the weekday prayers is the standard. That's the minimum. That's the Nai of Bina. And then every prayer that we have extra, for example, Rosh Chodesh, Chagim, so on, Shabbat is the highest really. So then it goes like to higher levels. So that's like a whole learning and understanding, like how does it grow? What is the structure that it builds up? But first of all, to understand the foundation, we have the structure of Zeir and Pin. This is the basic foundation, and on top of that we're adding the Mochin. We're starting from the bottom, Naya of Binah, and we're working our way up, basically to the Chabad of Keter. Okay, that will be the highest Mochin. Chabad of Keter, that's the highest Mochin. So when do we get to that? Basically, Ne'ilah of Yom Kippur, once a year. That's like the highest. Yeah. Even in Shabbat, we're getting to a very high level, but not the highest of the highest. Anyhow.
So it's kind of like building a skyscraper.
In a way,
building
yeah.
a building,
Right.
And then at Yom Kippur is like you're finishing the top floor.
Right.
Putting the antenna.
Right. And actually, they bring this example, this parable, that the tzaddikim they are building, right? And they say also every day when we're finishing the prayer, so we say Al tikri banaich la bonaich.
Yeah.
Right? What is bonaich? Your builders. So each one that is doing what he needs to do is a builder. We're building Zeir and Pin, building Nukba, bringing the tikkun, and that's building the final tikkun, the final redemption.
Right, but it's not saying what direction we're building. You could be just building this way and it's never going up. It's just building the foundation.
I think that there is people that's what they do. There is all kinds of different neshamot.
Everybody, right? It's all
right. There's all kinds of neshamot in the world. Hashem made space and work for everybody. Baruch Hashem. So yeah, so that's that. I think we'll hold it here for today, and Be'ezrat Hashem to be continued. Maybe I'll just add like one little word about Rosh Chodesh Tevet, Shvat. Baruch Hashem. So Rosh Chodesh Shvat, we have the like special occasion of Tu B'Shvat, right, middle of Shvat,
sure.
and Tu B'Shvat is the beginning of the awakening. Right before why we're doing the new fruits, it says in the Mishna in Masechet Rosh Hashanah that the saraf ole ba'otzim, the saraf, I don't know how you say it, saraf,
Rosh Hashanah of the trees.
Of the trees, yeah. So how do you say saraf? The moisture of the trees. If you cut the tree, so there's like a sap, right? So the sap is, according to Chazal, the sap goes up within the trees, and that creates eventually the blooming that brings the fruits. Okay, sure. So that process happens in this month. Okay,
this is in the physical.
This is in the physical.
Now we'll talk about
so the same thing that happens in the physical, we can learn from that about the spiritual.
Wow.
Okay, so as much as we are putting efforts now in this month, so then we have the fruits that are coming, Be'ezrat Hashem, that we see them basically in Pesach, right? The Pesach is like coming out. That's already Yetziat Mitzrayim. That all those fruits are out. So now it's the time to already prepare ourselves to bring up the sweetness that we want to achieve, Be'ezrat Hashem, in Pesach and for the rest of the year. Be'ezrat Hashem. Baruch Adonai L'olam, Amen v'Amen.